Honestly, I've never used this in my life. One thing I do hate about the schooling system is to sit an exam and then they forget everything as soon as they sit the exam. It's not revision, it's not studying, it's called wasting your time. And if you know where you're going wrong, you have no idea what you answered. Like, it could be really bad. Your phone is the biggest distraction on it. Like, taking a picture, just snapping it and putting it on Instagram and making it out like you're doing some complex stuff. Hey guys, well, today's video is basically going to be like bad habits to avoid whilst revising, and I want to make this clear. Like, this can be very subjective to people. This is basically what I have found over the years to be a waste of time and what I wouldn't do whilst revising. Just didn't say use of it, and you know, whatever suits you. I just gotta make that clear. So if you do like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. Follow all my social media so I can be rich and famous. Watch all of the ads, and you guys know the drill. Bring your phone on you. So the thing is, if you're watching videos on your phone, like I don't know, free time to listen to, let's say, or any of those like revision channels on YouTube, and you're on your phone, you're gonna get distracted so easy, especially if like social media or TikTok or any videos on your phone. So if you want to use your phone, I would say delete all socials and try and stick on apps like Flora and other versions, but I usually use Flora. That's the one I have. Or even putting your phone on airplane mode, or literally just taking it and putting it far away, like so you don't use it. Like, your phone is the biggest distraction on. When you take like small breaks while you're studying, avoid going on your phone purely because you're gonna go on social media. So you're not gonna spend 5 minutes on TikTok. Nobody spends 5 minutes on TikTok. I know that to myself. Trust me, you will think 5 minutes has gone by and 20 minutes have gone by. Like, don't. When you have like short study breaks, don't use it at your phone because you will spend a lot longer and you won't go on break for 5 minutes. So avoid your phone as much as you can while studying. I feel like it makes studying more efficient. You get stuff done faster, and your studying will be more efficient and you'll finish a lot faster. I know a lot of people, if you've watched my videos in the past, will know that this one grinds my gears differently. I've seen so many people study pages on Instagram do this, and it annoys me. The reason being is because it's not revision, it's not studying, it's called wasting your time. And if I have never, I know I've used the spec a couple of times in high school just to like make sure my words are on point. But I know that annotating the spec isn't gonna get you anywhere. It's not a piece of English literature. Like, it's not. Like, what you're gonna annotate with, like, you put an arrow on what you're gonna. I don't have so much against this one, but it is a waste. Like, I've seen so many people do it on Instagram. I just don't see the point in it. It's coming from someone who got 8s and 9s at Gcse's and gets A stars and A's at A level. Trust me when I tell you that annotating the spec is a waste of time. Just don't do it. I promise you, it's not revision. It's nothing more than taking a picture, just snapping it, making it out like you're doing some complex stuff. I've used it a couple of times in year 10 just to make sure that my words are on point. Like, you know how in biology, I've only ever used it in biology actually, and just to make sure that my words are on point. And you know how the biology mark scheme is quite specific. I just made sure that the key words that are in my answers match the spec, so then no matter what I do, I always get it right. Never like made notes out of the spec. You don't really need to. The spec is for teachers, so teachers know what they're supposed to teach you. That is what specification is. And a lot of people do their past papers open book, open time, and they don't mark them. If you want to start revising, you can start doing your past papers open book and open time to build up your confidence. That is completely fine. But if that is the only way you do past paper, you are for quite a disaster, because a past paper is basically an exam. You need to practice exams, and you need to be able to be confident that your timing is good, because if you haven't practiced timing, your timing in the real exam isn't going to be very good. If you know that timing is an issue, you need to practice timing. And if timing is an issue, that's not anything, but you need to be able to like recall stuff yourself from memory. So you're opening a textbook and answering an exam question constantly. It's just a very bad habit that you'll never be able to. Your brain is never active in using information, so you're always forgetting it. You can start off with it, but that's not the only way you do past papers. You do need to be able to like close book and close time, and that will kind of build up your confidence, your ability, and it will shape your memory as well. And your memory will get a lot better because your brain's actively using information. You have to mark them. I know a lot of people just do their past papers and forget about it. You need to mark them because, one, you need to know where you're going wrong. You have no idea what you answered. Like, it could be really bad. You think it's good, but you've no idea. Like, you'll be shocked at the amount of mistakes you'll end up pulling out. So please make sure you mark them. You give yourself critical feedback. And when you mark them, mark it harshly. Obviously English and social sciences is a different story. Like I just say, go to a teacher and get them to mark it, or if you know how to mark it or your friend can give you feedback, do that. Go to an expert who can give you feedback, that's fine. Basically when it comes to like science and maths, you can mark them yourself and be very harsh. Use the mark scheme answers because the questions repeat themselves. So if you have an idea of the mistakes you make and the mark scheme answers and you understand this, like honestly just use the mark scheme answers if you understand things. That's why when I say to you, the mark scheme is your friend, and look at where you made mistakes, because when you know the specific mistakes that you make, when you go and do your marks, you have specific mistakes to look out for, especially like for example in maths. You for example make mistakes in calculating the gradient. You know that that is a mistake you need to look out for. For example, if a gradient question came up, you know that's a mistake you need to look out for. So then when you go through your test, then speaking of practice and how important practice is, this brings me on to the sponsor of today's video, MediCoach. MediCoach is a online tuition platform to help the hundreds of people achieve the dream grades they want and got them into the dream colleges and universities of their choices. Tutors were A-star students who sat the new spec and they study at top universities in London. For GCSE and A-level tuition from £24 an hour, much more convenient and cheaper compared to the normal prices of like £40 an hour. It's accessible to all students around the UK as it is online. I really love about this as well is the fact that students are paired with tutors who have sat the same exam board in this particular subject that they are studying at the same time, so they have a good experience with that subject as well. And one thing I really like about this as well, students who are interested in a particular degree are paired with people who are studying that degree. So on top of the knowledge that you're going to get in the session, like you're going to get tutored and you're going to learn the subject that you've paid for, you also get an insight on the degree that you're interested in, which I think is a really good bonus to have, because you can look at other people's experiences in your dream degree. Sort of like their main teaching style is going through exams and exam practice, purely because I know as a person that what gets me the grades is exam practice and nailing exam technique. So that's what they focus on, and I really like that, because without exam technique or without knowing how to answer exam questions, you won't really get the marks. So that's where their main focus is, and what has proved successful for most students, not just me as a person. Like it genuinely works for most students, and I know that teaching through exam practice is what helps build the confidence, build the technique, build the muscle memory. That's where you can get the marks. And the first session is for free, and it is an introductory session where you get to know your tutor, let them know your progress and how you are with this particular subject, where you need to improve. They let them get to know you, your dreams, your aspirations, where you want to go with the subject, how far, like what you want to achieve, and they have an idea of what to work with and how they can help you in the future. But after the first free session, each session after that is going to be a paid session, and the GCSE sessions are £24 an hour and the A-level sessions are £27 an hour. And like I say guys, investing in your education is so important. So if you know, especially during this pandemic, that like messed up so many things for a lot of people, A-level and GCSE have a lot of gaps in their knowledge, have messed up in their marks, have a lot of weak points because of like online lessons, and where like for example like there wasn't enough teaching in school, and a lot of people feel like their teachers are not doing a good job. Taking the initiative to invest in your education and finding a solution to it, reaching out for help, which is out there. If you are interested, the link to their Instagram will be in the description box below. Go click the link on their Instagram, fill in the Google forms for your first session. Like your first session to be half price, use the code NADA50, which will be in the description box, and you have to DM them for it as well. I would personally say I would not want to miss out on this. I'm telling you guys, you're missing out. The spaces are going really fast. It's good just to like get yourself familiar with the content, but reading and just highlighting and doing nothing with your textbook isn't really going to get you anywhere. Really passive, the information will go in one ear and out the other. You're going to sit there and you're going to be bored out of your mind, and the next day you would have forgotten all the information. It will cause you too much stress. And if you want to use your time effectively, you need to engage your brain in order to remember the information. So using like active recall methods, like I don't know, memorizing stuff by rote, using acronyms, I don't know, like trying to just get your brain to actively recall information, which I did do in this video if you're interested in it, I feel like would definitely help you remember information better, as opposed to just reading and highlighting. Yes, your brain does like recall stuff from colors. I remember myself doing it in year 10 and it didn't really get me anywhere. Really important thing that I also want to talk about is cramming your revision. One thing I do hate about the schooling system is the fact that a lot of people just do all of this work just to sit an exam, and then they forget everything as soon as they sit the exam. The subjects I study and the way I study, that never tends to happen unless I really never visit something after a really long time. I'm gonna say this, you are going to forget all the information if you cram in all night or you revise only a week before your exam, unless it's like a small topic test. If it's like your big end of year or end of term mocks, you do need to prepare at least a month in advance or a few weeks in advance, because you give yourself time to like just consistently do bits of revision, and it will all come into place and you will not forget it. And trust me on this. If you kind of start with your routine and you begin early, you start memorizing, you start consolidating, you start making sure you understand the information, and then you go into your practice paper, so then your brain actively recalls the information, you're more likely to remember it, as opposed to just making notes the night before an exam, trying to memorize all the information, and then you don't have time to like practice exam question, and here's your exam. You do the exam, you may be happy with how you perform, but you're going to forget the information straight after. Another thing as well why I hate cramming all-nighters is the fact that when you sleep, your short-term memory is converted to long-term memory, and you don't allow that process to take place. And on top of that, when you sit your exam, you're going to be really tired, like you're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to be able to focus. Your performance won't be as good. I never need to cram like 5-6 hours of revision. I usually never exceed 3 hours. 3 hours is like the most I've ever revised in one day. I've not revised more than that in a really long time. So if you do want to take on board what I say, well, look, go and check this video and look at how I wasn't stressed. And I'm saying this right now, I like to lead by example, and I think actions speak louder than words, and I try to be as realistic as possible in my vlog. So watch this one. This is when I did my mock exam week, and I showed you guys I wasn't stressed at all, and I managed to achieve A in my mocks. And one of them, the A, I was actually 1 mark off an A star, and I did that with 0 cramming, 0 stress. I didn't revise the night before the exam either. So I would go watch this. Like I said, I think actions speak louder than words on how I revise. It may work for you, it may not. For me as a person, I really think it is a waste of time, but there's an exception. This pretty aesthetic piece of paper, which I've never used. I'm only using this to revise this for my personal statement. If this is the only thing you do for revision, yes, you are wasting your time. However, if you are a person who is you're quite a study ambitious kind of person, and you like to make the pretty notes, and you do use them, and you do your past papers, and you do all of that, that is completely fine. For me as a person, I don't particularly enjoy sitting down and studying. I like to get my revision done out of the way, and I want to do more things with my day. If you are a person who also doesn't have much revision material and you don't get given stuff from school, I would say go and do it. Do chemistry, maths and further maths, and I've never seen, for example, maths and further maths, I'm sorry, you really don't need to make notes or anything. Like there is no need to make notes, flashcards or anything. It is a waste of time. But with the chemistry, I see a lot of people do make notes. If it works for you, feel free. I don't ever make notes in chemistry. I purely just get the information in my head and practice exam questions, and that's what gets me A stars, which I did explain in this video here. That's what got me an A star in my mock. Same thing with my maths and my further maths. That's how I revise, and that's how I revise across all my subjects. Everyone is different. If you do use your notes, make them. If you don't use your notes, I would say find a more efficient use of your time. If the only thing you do to revise is making notes, then you are wasting your time. You need to be aware of the fact that you're being assessed on how you can recall information, apply your knowledge, and use your exam techniques in an exam, not how pretty your notes can be. So if it works for you, that is fine, but you do need to be aware of the fact that that's what you're being assessed on. If you wanted to make revision notes, you could make them as you go along. That would be an efficient use of time. But if you are making, let's say your exam is the night before and you're making 60 flashcards, so many notes, and you've not went through them, or you've not practiced any exam questions, you have pulled an all-nighter for absolutely nothing. And it's ever time to make revision notes as you do the topic, that's okay, and you use them, that's fine. But if it is honestly something you don't use and you don't enjoy doing, maybe reconsider how you revise. I don't really make flashcards, never in maths. In chemistry, I'd only do make definition flashcards. Definitions, it looks scruffy as hell, but I promise you, literally, it is the best thing I've ever done in my life. For example, standard enthalpy of formation, and then it's like the definitions at the back. Module 5, which is what we're doing now in chemistry. All of this, honestly, I've never used this in my life. All of my mocks, I've never used a single one of these. For example, like I can do a question answer thing. I think Jake Clark goes on about this. If you do want some info on flashcards, I would recommend watching this video by Jake, because he does use his flashcards and he knows more about them than I do. I don't typically like making them. I made these in lockdown in 2020 and I've never used them ever, just because for me I've never needed them. The notes I've been given in school are really good, and I have a really good textbook. I memorize straight away, and I feel like chemistry is one of those subjects where it's not a waffly subject, so you don't need to make your notes more concise. You don't need to summarize notes. Piece of paper, which is just part of my research I do for my personal statement. That I tried to do my best to do that off memory, because I feel like I want to be able to have understood and memorized the information. So I do a lot of this stuff from memory. So memorize the information before you make notes on it. If you like your aesthetic notes, I would say just try and make it more brain engaging. So try and write things from memory. And if you make a mess, there's something called Tipex. If you do, also guys, if anyone is interested in like how I specifically revise to get A's and A stars in my A-level mocks, or 8s and 9s in my GCSEs, there are 2 videos I have put up, which one is here and one is there. That is how I got A stars and A's in my A-level mocks, and that is how I got 8s and 9s in my GCSEs. So if you are interested in any of these, the links will be in the description box down below. And if you're interested in MIDI coach as well, the link will be in the description box, and I would not want to miss out. So click all the links in the description box, follow me on social media, and subscribe down below so I can be rich and famous, and you guys know the drill. So I hope you guys found it useful and enjoyed, and there'll be many more videos to come over the summer. And yes, my skin is glowing as usual, and I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon.